I have been thinking a lot about incompetence. Why? Well, perhaps because on a daily basis, there's more and more evidence that we are being led, is probably the wrong word, but for lack of a better one, by the most incompetent regime in American history. Last week, I flew to London and purposely made a flight early in the morning because I don't like taking red eyes. So we were up at 4:30 in the morning to get to the airport for an 8 o'clock flight. 5 minutes after getting to the airport at around 6 in the morning, we were informed that our flight was delayed by 12 hours. So much for avoiding the red eye. And there's nothing quite like taking a red eye when you've been up since 4:30 in the morning. But, that happens. Here's the thing, though. That kind of thing has happened almost every single time I have flown since around April. So it took approximately 4 months to for the incompetence of the people Donald put in charge of things like the FAA and Transportation Department, etc., finally to kick in. Almost every single flight I have taken, and I've taken many, has been delayed, sometimes for hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. I've had flights canceled. I have flights delayed because of weather that wasn't actually happening, mechanical failures, um, staffing issues, and in some cases, even though they would never admit this, because there just weren't enough air traffic controllers. I hear frequently about near misses of planes clipping wings, of helicopters crashing into each other. Now, a flight delay, again, is not a big deal. And I was fine. I was just a little more tired than I wanted to be. And I got where I wanted to be 12 hours later than I wanted to get there. So what, right? Well, it isn't always an insignificant issue. Think about the knock on effects of a 12-hour delay of a flight. There are people who have been saving up for years to go on a trip only to find that because of the flight delay, they missed their connection or they had to pay for a whole night at a hotel they ended up not staying in. The havoc that is wreaked with airline employees, flight attendants, pilots, the scheduling issues, the waste of resources, on and on and on. These are things that actually have real life consequences for many people. I was basically going on vacation and it wasn't that big a deal for me. But again, think about all those lost connections. Think about people who've been looking forward to a trip for months or years, missing a whole day of it, or people who have very serious work commitments that they needed to be there for, or family emergencies. It is not okay, and it is not our imagination that things are worse just in the context of air travel than they used to be. Again, this is the first year in a long time that I've traveled as much as I have, but I used to travel fairly frequently and I never had issues like this before. The problem for us is the incompetence cuts both ways. I've heard people say that the fact that the Trump regime is so incompetent may actually end up saving us in the end. If we get to the end, because their incompetence also on a daily basis puts people in danger. Flying is not as safe as it used to be 11 months ago. The world is much less safe than it was 11 months ago. We are at the mercy of a regime that is deliberately or not tanking the economy, fraying the Western alliance, destroying American democracy, engaging in costly and dangerous incursions into other countries we have no right to be in. There are going to be knock on effects for all of this. Some of them we are already beginning to feel. Inflation is up, prices are up. I don't know how many jobs have been created in the last 11 months, but it is very few. Manufacturing is not coming back to America. Ukraine is still being invaded by Russia. The situation in Gaza remains horrific. The Trump regime continues to blow up boats in the Caribbean Sea and murder people, up to 110 so far, without any consequence, as far as I can tell. And then, of course, there are the threats to take over countries. And one of those threats has been realized, which I will talk about in a minute, because apparently we're now running Venezuela despite the fact that Donald can barely tie his shoes and is incapable of running this country. Although I guess it depends on how you measure success. Do you measure success by making America better for all Americans, or by counting how many of your friends and cronies you've enriched? Well, I think we know the answer to that question. It may be the only thing Donald's good at, but he has a lot of help, quite frankly, because on his own, when he was an alleged businessman, he filed for bankruptcy 6 times, despite the fact that he was running casinos. So we have to hope that the incompetence of the Trump regime and the people in it will be their undoing. In the meantime, their incompetence makes being American a more dangerous proposition with every day that passes. Let's dive in. Happy New Year. It is very good to be back, generally speaking. Yes, as mentioned, we were in London over New Year's. It is a beautiful place to spend this season. They really know how to do holiday lights over in London. It was a great trip, flight delay notwithstanding. Honestly, the biggest issue with the flight delay was just that I have jet lag, because the red eye thing is not something that I do very well. But had some really fascinating experiences, got to spend time with some great people, and stayed at a very lovely place. And just really the only bad thing about it was that I accidentally checked the news one day. So you know what I'm talking about, because apparently we took over Venezuela. Again, as I say, Happy New Year. As a result of that, we also took Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Cilia Flores into custody. I'm guessing that we did that illegally. The two of them appeared in federal court today in Manhattan. Both pleaded not guilty to charges, including narco-terrorism and conspiracy to import cocaine. Maduro told the judge he'd been kidnapped and described himself as a quote-unquote prisoner of war. I don't know about the last part, but I think kidnapped has a nice ring to it. Maduro's lawyer said the defense would challenge the legality of what he called a military abduction. That also sounds about right. Over the weekend, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, I should say part-time Secretary of State, he does so many different jobs. And don't forget, he is full-time in charge of the Diet Coke button in the Oval Office. He is a busy man. He denied that the Trump regime's actions in Venezuela mirror the Bush administration's failed tactics in the Middle East, specifically Iraq. In an appearance on CNN, Representative Pat Ryan rebutted Rubio's statement on this issue. Take a look.
The same things were said. I remember, I was a cadet at West Point. In the lead up to the war in Iraq, the same things were said about Vietnam when comparisons were made in a similar way. It is such chicken hawk BS from Rubio, who's not served a single day in uniform, to dismiss that as a phobia. You want to tell that to my friends on this bracelet that I lost in combat? You want to tell that to the innocent Iraqis that were killed? You want to tell that to the Venezuelan people who are saying, we're glad Maduro's gone, as am I, but what the heck is the plan afterwards? And are we just going to hand this to another dictator who's going to do the will of our increasingly authoritarian president in Donald Trump?
There is no plan. To be very clear about that. And this is the interesting thing. Donald didn't even bother to take the time to lie to the American people about why he was doing this ahead of time. Typically, that's how it works. You lie to Congress, you can convince Congress to go along, and then you lie to the American people. And then there's this sheen of legitimacy. I'm not saying that's good, but in fact, it's terrible. And the invasion of Iraq was a crime against humanity. We could never erase the blood that is on the hands of the architects of that horror. But Donald didn't even bother to let Congress know. In fact, he probably let the CEOs of big oil companies know what was about to happen before anybody else. We know for a fact that he did not consult I always forget what they're called, but the eight members of the Senate and the House, both Republicans and Democrats, who are supposed to be informed of such things. Now, this is not just about regime change. In fact, I doubt it's about regime change at all. Donald doesn't care about Maduro's crimes. And I misspoke. I shouldn't have said regime change. I should have said this is not about holding a criminal leader of another country accountable. Donald doesn't care about what Maduro does or does not do. In fact, if you think about it, he just pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was actually put on trial and convicted of much worse crimes than Maduro's being charged with. So why pardon the one and kidnap the other to put him on trial? I'm not entirely sure, but he clearly has some problems with Maduro. I think maybe partially it's because Maduro succeeded where Donald failed. He refused to concede an election he lost and stayed in power, whereas Donald had to wait around for 4 years before his coup finally succeeded. Oh, that's an anniversary that's coming up tomorrow. Let's take bets on how soon January 6th becomes a national holiday. I also think that perhaps pardoning the Honduran president was simply Donald making it clear once again that he doesn't appreciate it when justice prevails. This again is part of a larger strategy. Obviously, it's about the oil, but this started with those bombings of boats in the Caribbean. It started with claiming that Tren de Aragua was a terrorist organization, which essentially gave Donald free rein to do whatever he wanted with justification. But let's not forget, he is misusing the American military to commit crimes. 110 people, at least, murdered in the Caribbean Sea. Are they guilty of something? We don't know. Were they guilty of something that deserved the death penalty? We don't know. But here's the thing. If that were the case, they did not receive the death penalty because they weren't tried, they weren't convicted, and they weren't sentenced. They were murdered. Dozens of people in Venezuela are dead now that weren't yesterday or whenever it was. Sorry, I've lost track of time. Who were killed in this action. Another egregious misuse of the United States military. So we have to wonder when, if Congress is ever going to stand up. The Republicans never will. So will the American people look at this continuing lawlessness and the continuing abdication of the Republicans in Congress who are intentionally refusing to fulfill their constitutional obligations to the American people and say once and for all, these people must be replaced. The Republican Party is an anti-American, anti-democratic party. It must be stopped. I'm not entirely sure how much evidence, more evidence we need, but I do know we will get more. The Trump regime has launched a massive federal law enforcement surge in Minnesota, and that is not an accident. They're deploying almost 2,000 Department of Homeland Security agents in Minneapolis, St. Paul. The operation includes heavy involvement from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Nazi thugs at ICE. This crackdown has fueled fear and protest, particularly among the state's Somali American community, maybe because Donald has repeatedly used horrifically racist rhetoric about Somali immigrants. He has called them garbage. He has claimed that Somalia is not a real country. He has softened the ground for people like him to commit hate crimes against Somali immigrants. This operation is supposedly partially an immigration crackdown and a fraud investigation. Comes as Minnesota is facing harsh scrutiny over years-long fraud schemes involving federally funded programs. Prosecutors have charged more than 90 people with crimes and estimate losses in the billions. Minnesota Governor Tom Walz has announced that he won't run for a third term because of the scandal. Well, again, that is as it should be if Tim Walz has allowed this knowingly or unwittingly to go on his watch. But that's just an excuse for Donald to terrorize yet another vulnerable community in this country because, thanks to him, racism is great again in America. I think it's important we never forget that one of the most awful things Donald has done to this country is to give people permission to be their worst selves, to make people believe that being cruel and racist and misogynistic and anti-trans and homophobic and Islamophobic and anti-immigrant is not something you have to hide anymore. It's something that you can be open about and proud of. Meanwhile, that degrades all of us. How many days is it since 2026? 5 days. My goodness gracious. That seems impossible. I feel like I was away for much longer than I was, but I'm still really tired. So I apologize. I mean, I have trouble keeping track of the days anyway, but it's literally 5 days. So that doesn't exactly bode well. All right. Before we get to what all of us need right now, I have a quick announcement to make. We have a podcast. Yeah. Oh, look. That's me. Yes, it's the Mary Trump podcast. It's basically available everywhere you listen to podcasts. So yes, we've got Apple, we've got YouTube, Spotify. Sorry about that. But, Spotify is still a thing. Audible, everywhere. So definitely check it out. Tune in, subscribe. Again, it doesn't cost anything. It just, it's just a way of showing support. It's also really important if you are so inclined to leave us a 5-star review, because the more of those we get, the more people will know about the Mary Trump podcast, which again is streaming everywhere. Cool. Oh, also, don't forget we have a shop now. Yes, we have Mary Trump Media Shop where you can get really cool t-shirts and sweatshirts. Oh, look, mugs. I'm partial to the mug. I actually like all of those. You don't have to, but check out the shop. It's a way to support us and get something in return. Something tangible. Like a mug or a tote bag that says I read bad books. All right. Again, it is really wonderful to be back with you. It seems like forever in a way, and yet again, it went very quickly. So I don't know how that's possible. I don't think it is, according to laws of physics possible. But thankfully, to get me to stop talking, we've now reached today's emotional support moment. It's only January 5th. We still have a lot of winter ahead of us, and I don't know where you guys are, but it's really cold and it's still getting dark way too early. So I wanted to take a little detour tonight and share with you a few moments of the waves in the summer. Just listening to the sound of water is kind of all I need to kind of calm things down. But also the sunshine is lovely as well. So, oh my gosh, you know what I forgot to do? I mean, I have to assume that you've all been breathing without my asking you to. Because this is not a cult. You can breathe at will. But still, sometimes it's nice to be reminded, because I often hold my breath, which is not healthy. So let's take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. And watch. That was lovely. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I am particularly partial to tropical places. I think I could live in the Caribbean or on Maui, for example. So that was lovely. All right, let's get to your comments, questions, etc. Kendra is a super sticker. Thank you, Kendra, as always, for that. Much appreciated. And CDB I5C, another super sticker. Thank you very much. Midas Cheryl, thank you as always. Gifted one Mary Trump Media membership. And of course, the always anticipated Midas Cheryl twofer. Thank you very much. This is the comment. Miss G, Mary, and everyone else. This is for Joe Colorado Swear Jar because there's some dementia adult person making our lives miserable and frightening. Who? Oh, yeah. Sorry. I knew that. Donald. Aaron, holy cow. That's a nice welcome back gift. Gifted 20 Mary Trump Media memberships. That is phenomenal. Thank you so very much. ECM958, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Question: can Donald stop the elections if we're in a war? I mean, there are a lot of things he can do. Martial law, I think he's gutting for martial law, certainly. I mean, technically, they're not saying we're at war. So that could change at any time. If we don't, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but I think it's safe to assume that they'll do whatever they feel they have to do to stay in power, which is why we need to be very vigilant and mobilize as many people as humanly possible. I still think that it may come to our being willing to shut it all down. Teddy 810, Canada's in the house. Elbows up, everybody. Thank you very much for that. Question: can we genetically make an orange and call it Donald? Sure. But why? Why? Oranges serve a purpose, a noble purpose. So I don't think it would be fair. Oranges deserve better. I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of orange it is, though. But I'll leave that to everybody's imagination. Dorothy, thank you as always for gifting one Mary Trump Media membership. Awesome. Karnak Magnificent, thank you very much for that comment. I fear this will be another Vietnam. They can't defend the oil industry from the air. Yeah, it's a mess. They don't know what they're doing. Listen, remember Vietnam, Iraq, alleged adults were in charge back then, right? People who allegedly were experts and knew what they were doing. I'm not saying they didn't have malign motives, because they did, but they were not incompetent in many ways. Now we've got the people with malign motives who don't know anything. So yeah, it is going to be a wild ride, but I swear if they better not be planning to put boots on the ground, because if they do, that is the time. That is the line that cannot be crossed. Brigade 45, thank you very much. Comment: dealing with unexpected red-eye layout delays, swear jar fee. Yeah, no fucking kidding. It sucks. Julie, thank you very much for that comment. Hi, Mary. Welcome back. Question: who really ran the Maduro kidnapping? Donald, Miller, or Rubio? Given Donald's sick mind, how did he manage this? Oh, he didn't. Somebody told him. I think he doesn't know anything. Let's be very clear. He doesn't know anything except in his little mind. Oil. It's going to bring down the price of gas, which is going to make him more popular, and it's going to make his buddies rich, and he will get a kickback, so he'll get richer. I don't know. I don't really know. I would assume probably somebody like Stephen Miller. Rubio is a spineless, sycophantic little Nazi. I don't know. I think there are a lot of different people with a lot of different motives, and it is not going to end well, regardless, because none of those motives is a good one. Emily is a new member. Thank you very much and welcome. It's great to have you here. Spencer, thanks as always for that very kind comment. So Putin steals Crimea and the world said, oh, bit naughty. Look what happened. Wannabe Don steals Venezuela, and I'm hearing a similar response. Next stop, driver, I want off, sent in Calibri. Thank you for sending in a Calibri, because I swear that for those of you who aren't aware, Calibri is a sans serif font, which means it's actually what you're reading right now is sans serif. It just means there aren't any of those lines that go under the. It's just cleaner text. I don't really know how it doesn't have the embellishments of like a Times New Roman, for example. So it's a cleaner text. It's easier for people with dyslexia and low vision to read. And Anthony Blinken, when he was Secretary of State or whatever he was, I apologize. I think he was Secretary of State. He changed, he made the official font Calibri. Because again, it's easier for people with low vision and dyslexia to read Calibri. And Marco Rubio, being the spineless little Nazi he is, decided that that was too woke. It is too woke to want to make it easier for people with vision problems to read. So he changed it back to Times New Roman, because that is how petty and awful the people in this regime are. That's what they spend their time coming up with. Back to the other point, though. Yeah, listen, this is the project here. They just want to split the world up. Russia, what's his name? Putin can have Ukraine and potentially other countries in Europe. Xi can have Asia. Donald wants the Americas. And I guess Kim Jong-un can have North Korea. Kristen, thank you very much. Kristen, comment. Thank you for keeping us all sane through the chaos. Well, I hope I appreciate that. You think I am. His Divine Scott, who, thank you. Wow, that's awesome. Gifted 5 Veritone Media memberships. Fabulous. Ruth, thank you very much for that. Question: are you going to visit Scotland or Wales while you're visiting our colonial nation under the forever English control? I did. This time around, we just stayed in London the whole time, which I have to confess to you was actually kind of nice. Because the last time we were over there, we went to London, Cambridge, Hay-on-Wye in Wales, and Edinburgh, and back to London. And it was a lot. I mean, it's phenomenal, but it was a lot. But I definitely will be back. I'm hoping I'll be going back to the Hay Festival in May. And I definitely want to spend some time in Scotland when we're over there. Natalie is a new member. Thank you so much, Natalie. It is great to have you here. Rick Robin, thank you very much as always. Comment: the world hates Americans now because of Donald and his illegal war against Venezuela, and anti-American sentiment is at an all-time high everywhere. Yeah, and so thankfully, finally, it's anti-Donald sentiment, because he's breaking every single promise he made. I mean, not that anybody should be shocked by that, but remember, America first, no nation building, no wars. Yeah. Yep. Mission Road 100. Question: comment. Anyone who believes that manufacturing has come back to America is an idiot. MAGA believes it is coming back. Enough said. Yeah, it's absurd. Manufacturing has been on the decline in this country since the 70s. It is not coming back. Richard, thank you very, very much for that comment. If I had a nickel for every time I lived through a historic event that occurred in early January perpetrated by Donald, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right? Makes me uncomfortable. Corley 9469 comment: Governor Walz decided he needs to focus on his last year as governor. It's what real and responsible leaders do, but so sad he's not running. Yeah, I have to confess, because I've been away. I don't really know what's going on with that. Beyond what's happening, what the federal government is doing, using this these fraud allegations to essentially invade Wisconsin. So I sincerely hope Governor Walz has nothing to do with it and that he sets it right. But I agree. I think that's stepping down or not deciding not to run again is the right decision. Gene, question. This is another distraction from Epstein, Trepstein, ACA. All the regime wants to do is pillage Venezuela and neighboring countries. Yeah, I mean, it's a distraction that this is unfortunately what happens frequently. Sorry, I need to hydrate. The thing that's a distraction is also serious in its own right. I mean, they literally just took over. They kidnapped the leader of another country and are taking it over. That's very serious stuff. But it's also a distraction from the Epstein files, in which Donald is mentioned many, 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 many times. Because if you'll remember, Jeffrey Epstein was Donald's best friend for over a decade. Shauna, comment. I've been doing a lot more meditation and listening to soft music lately. Self care. Yeah, I need to do that. I need to meditate or do mindfulness or something because it's tough times. Kelly, comment. The fireworks in London were awesome. I watched it live on BBC. We stayed in, so we didn't see the fireworks, but friends of ours were at a rooftop hotel with a view of the London Eye, that Ferris wheel thing. And oh my goodness, yes, saw some video of the fireworks. They were incredible. Catherine is a new member. Thank you so much, Catherine, and welcome. Joe, Colorado, for whom the swear jar is named, has been a member for 4 months, which is fabulous. Comment, love my membership. Thank you, Barrett. Well, thank you, Joe, Colorado, for allowing us to name our swear jar after you. Joanne is a super sticker. And Joanne, that is extraordinarily generous and kind of you. So thank you very much. Mendena's a member for 7 months. Holy cow. Happy New Year, Mary. Well, Happy New Year to you as well. Catherine, also a new member. Fabulous. Thank you very much. Traveling bibliophile. Interesting. Like it. Question. Didn't Donald pardon a huge drug trafficking dictator from Honduras? The only difference is Venezuela has oil. Yes. I mean, there are a couple of other differences, but you nailed it. Donald doesn't care if people are flooding this guy. Well, actually, that's another big difference. The Honduran guy was actually sending the drugs to America. Something like 500,000 kilos of drugs. He was sentenced to 45 years in prison for his horrific crimes. And Donald pardoned him. Paula is a new member. Thank you so much and welcome. Heidi has been a member for 3 months. Fabulous. Question, why do you think J.D. Vance wasn't at the presser? I don't know. Maybe he was busy doing something like, I don't know. What do you think J.D. Vance does in his free time? Torture puppies? Commit hate crimes? You know, he's a busy guy. Frownhuffs, thank you as always. Comment, Happy New Year. I guess. Yeah, well, yeah. No, Happy New Year. It's good. Thank you for continuing to fight, Mary and team. Well, we are very grateful to be here. Hocephalus, sorry, this is something. Hosefusloopwitch. I said that wrong and I apologize. Comment, Venezuela is also rich in diamonds and rare earth mineral and computers very high in rare earth. Yes, it is. If Donna wants to do something, I'm so sorry, Gabby. Kind of need to say your name. Comment, if Donna wants to do something for the people, let us sell 60,000 dollars online, eBay, Etsy, etc., without being taxed like it used to be. Yeah. He doesn't care. As long as he's making money, he doesn't care. Kiki Streets comment: CIA has been deeply embedded in Venezuela ever since U.S. oil companies arrived around 6 decades ago. Oh, totally. Listen, don't get me wrong. I mean, America misadventures in Central and South America are horrific, and I'm not making any excuses for them. But this is a new level of problematic, shall we say? Michael, comment: 40 civilians were killed in the kidnapping, including an 87-year-old woman whose house was bombed. Yeah. I'd say murdered, but what do I know? Invisible Pink Unicorn, thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Comment: we've crossed so many lines and still nothing is done. What will it take for people to wake up and take to the streets? Congress is a joke. Anyway, thank you for what you do. The Republicans in Congress are a joke, and hopefully the Democrats will take advantage of the horrors. Like the only advantage of the horrors is that they can be taken advantage of. The Democrats need to figure out how to take back not just the House but the Senate. It is compulsory to the future of this country. In the middle of nowhere, has been a member for seven whole months. Cool. Comment: love and miss you. Glad you're back safe and sound. Thank you. It is good to be back safe and sound. We miss the pets a lot. Otherwise, I really like London. Night Owl Ohio has been a member for 6 months. Fabulous. Comment: welcome back, Mary and team. It's good to have you back live. I hope your holidays were fantastic and you'll get some much needed rest and deserve rest. Yes. Well, I didn't really get rest, but it was definitely good to just unplug a little bit and hang out. Natalie has also been a member for 6 months. Fantastic. Comment: a hug to everyone who feels he, she, they need it. Thank you. In the middle of nowhere, thank you as always. This is a JC Swear Jar contribution, as is only fitting. Susan, also a member for 6 months. Fabulousness everywhere. Comment: welcome back, Maritime Media community. Miss you all. I really miss you guys too. Annie, thank you very much from Australia. Fabulous. Question: hi, Mary. Do you have any power, being a member of the Trump family and also a medical professional, have Donald committed somehow? Cheers. From us, from Kangaroo Land. No, I have none. None at all. If I had, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It would have been sorted. And finally, Agatha has been a member for 7 months, and her comment is, so tired. Yeah, and it's January. So, we need to figure this one out because it's going to be a very long year. It already has been, but it's an important one. And we need to stay hydrated and rested. So, whether it's meditation, mindfulness, exercise, being in nature, whatever it is, we all need to figure out something that's going to keep us charged, keep our batteries charged. All right. That does it for us tonight. Again, Happy New Year. It is so great to be back with you. Sorry if I'm a little off. Like I said, I'm still really jet lagged, and it's not typical for me. So I've been back for a few days, so it's a little weird, but I will get there. So to all of our new members, everybody who gifted memberships, all of our awesome super stickers, and everybody giving us donations, thank you. Truly, we so appreciate all of you. And you help us more than we could say. The simplest way to support us is just subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we're having a little bit of trouble making any headway at all, thanks to YouTube. Another easy way, we have videos dropping every single day. Like, even though we were on break, we had videos twice a day the whole time. So watch those videos, like them, share them, comment on them. All of that helps us as well. Subscribe to the podcast. Check us out on Patreon. Check out our store. And also, you can go over to The Good in Us, our Substack, because, hi, everybody, we're live streaming over there. Check out our social media, all that stuff. I mean, generally speaking, most of it is completely free. To our awesome moderators, thank you as always. And I'm sorry, again, jet lag and dehydration seem to go together. And finally, to my most exceptional team, I missed you guys. It's great to be back. I hope everybody is rested and ready to go, because again, it's going to be a crazy year, but we're going to try to keep it sane, and we're going to try to keep it real. And as you know, you always keep it honest. So that does it. We will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. No, that would be too late. 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Eastern, or 11 p.m. London time. Greenwich Mean Time, I think is what they call it. Yes. So hopefully tomorrow it will feel like 6 and not 11. We'll see. All right. It is, again, wonderful to be back. Happy New Year. Have a great night. Check out our videos tomorrow. See you at Mary Trump Live tomorrow night. And in the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.